أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
New York, a city of freedom, diversity, and endless possibility. In this city of 8 million people, layered with languages, faith, and cultures, I can't stop but thinking, what does it mean to be a Muslim here? Does the city allow us to be fully ourselves? Or does it quietly reshape who we can truly be? Before 9/11, Muslims' life in New York unfolded quietly. Post-1965 immigrants from South Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and the Caribbean built masjid, halal shops, and weekend school across the boroughs. In Spanish Harlem, groups like Alianza Islamica blended faith with neighborhood activism. Prejudice existed, but religious identity drew little scrutiny. Hijab, masjid attendance, and halal business were simply part of the city's everyday rhythm. This low-intensity visibility allowed organic belonging and cross-community exchange, a stark contrast to what came later that changed everyone's life. That quiet sense of belonging began to unravel after 9/11.
And for the first time, I had this feeling of people just staring at me and sizing me up, trying to determine whether I was a threat. I had never had that feeling before, and it's a feeling that many Muslims, I think, had that day and the days after. My brother, in those first couple of weeks after 9/11, shaved his goatee, wore a baseball hat every day to school because he didn't want to draw undue attention or scrutiny. So it's been a very tough last 20 years for the American Muslim.
The NYPD set up a secret demographic unit, later called the Zone Assessment Unit, to map Muslim neighborhood, track masjid and business, and even infiltrate student groups, all without any evidence of wrongdoings. Undercover officers went to Islamic gatherings, wrote down license plates, and tried to provoke what they called suspicious behavior. These tactics turned everyday religious life into something suspect, discouraged people from worshipping publicly, and eroded trust inside the community. In the name of safety, visibility, and free expression were pushed into the shadows.
Just be careful, watch what you say and watch what you do, because there are, and what she called munafiq on campus, and munafiq is an Arabic term that roughly translates to hypocrite. She was talking about Muslims or people who pretend to be Muslim, realized that what I was doing politically and what I was doing religiously would be targeted just by virtue of me being a conservative Muslim with leftist politics. Somebody like me would be directly targeted, so automatically I start suspecting people in the Palestinian Club. I start suspecting people within my general circles, like if I hadn't known them prior to me being religious, if I hadn't known them prior to me being political, can I really trust them? Are they specifically in my social circles to spy on me?
2 decades later, the legacy of that surveillance still lingers. For many Muslims in New York, the fear of being watched is still a lived reality.
Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
2 decades after 9/11, surveillance has not disappeared. It has shifted. For Muslims, the restrictions of political expression now reaches far beyond police mapping of masjid. Immigration law itself has been weaponized, and programs like CARP, the Controlled Application Review and Resolution Program, delayed or denied green cards and citizenships for people being labeled as national security concerns, often without no notice and no explanation at all. Under the banner of safety, these policies introduced indefinite uncertainty into Muslims' lives, curbing dissent and eroding the very idea of civic belonging. This is the backdrop of Mahmoud Khalil's detention. A student activist at Columbia, he was taken away from his campus apartment by ICE agents in March 2025. For many Muslims here, his case is not an exception but a sign. Visibility can still become vulnerability overnight.
A student at Columbia University arrested by ICE officials for his role in a pro-Palestinian protest taking place on that campus last year.
Grad student Mahmoud Khalil has a green card, still in custody. He's been there for, 3 weeks now?
A federal judge has just ordered the release of Columbia University graduate and legal permanent resident.
Is that Khalil hid information on his U.S. green card application, and she's ordering him to be sent back to Algeria or Syria.
The fear that began with surveillance now reaches into immigration status, political voice, and everyday freedom. In New York, to be Muslim is still to move carefully between participation and the risk of being fully eliminated. And within the Muslim community itself, differences remain. Ethnicity, language, migration history shape who gathers with who. South Asian with South Asian, Arab with Arab, Shia with Shia, and Sunni with Sunni. Even Malcolm X, the most iconic Muslim voice in America, was not safe from these divisions. In 1965, he was assassinated by members of the Nation of Islam after breaking with the movement.
I'm against any form of segregation and against racism.
Am I right in saying that the black Muslim movement, which you have left, did bleed in that?
Well, Elijah Muhammad taught his followers that the only solution was a separate state for black people. And as long as I thought he genuinely believed that himself, I believed in him and believed in his solution. But when I began to doubt that he himself believed that that was feasible, and I saw no kind of action designed to bring it into existence or bring it about, then I turned in a different direction.
Are you still a Muslim yourself?
Oh, yes. I'm a Muslim. I believe in the religion of Islam, which believes in brotherhood, complete brotherhood of all people. But at the same time that I believe in this brotherhood, I don't believe in forcing my desire for brotherhood upon those who aren't willing to accept it.
That fracture between ideals and identity still marks the community today. In New York, identity is layered and belonging is fragmented. And yet, New York remains a rare place to be Muslim openly and comfortably. You can pray at masjid, find halal food on every street, celebrate faith without hiding it. In 2015, Muslim leader Laylinda Sarsour helped make it a public school holiday, a moment of recognition for Muslims living in the city.
The Department of Education will now be recognizing 2 Islamic holidays. The move comes after years of lobbying, with a resolution leaving one in tears.
I am very humbled to have been chosen by my coalition, by my community, to stand with the mayor of New York City in front of my family and my children to say, I'm your mother, and I did this for you. This is a win for our children and for future generations in this country. In the summer of 2015, my daughter gets the school calendar in the mail, and she's like, oh my God, look, it says Eid al-Adha, it says Eid al-Fitr on it, like on the calendar. She's so ecstatic, you would think the girl got $1 million check in the mail. For the largest public school system in the entire country to say, wait a minute, You matter. Your faith matters. That was really a big deal. Muslims are part of the fabric of this country. We make our country proud, and today, New York City made us proud.
Here, Islam can be seen, heard, and celebrated. For many, it feels like home.
I am Muslim. I am a democratic socialist. And most damning of all, I refuse to apologize for any of this. And we will build a city hall that stands steadfast alongside Jewish New Yorkers and does not waver in the fight against the scourge of anti-Semitism. Where the more than 1 million Muslims know that they belong. Not just in the 5 boroughs of this city, but in the halls of power. No more will New York be a city where you can traffic in Islamophobia and win an election. This new age will be defined by a competence and a compassion that have too long been placed at odds with one another. We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.